So Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are basically Robert De Niro to me now. You know what I mean? And if I'm sure a lot of people out there know exactly what I mean, but when I was a kid, or when I was younger, actually, and basically up until the time that Robert De Niro opened his fucking mouth publicly about his feelings on politics and Donald Trump, he was like my movie star hero guy. I mean, the mafia shit, the shooting the pillow in that movie where he had to go to the psychiatrist. It was fucking amazing. It was amazing. A tough guy dude. I was like, yeah, this dude's awesome, right? Goodfellas or the whole thing. You know what I mean? And now, when he started talking publicly about his political feelings, I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking loser. He's a woke loser. And basically, that's what Kash and Dan have turned into to me, right? They've turned into people that when they were not in power, I was looking up to, going, yeah, these guys are really, they know what they're talking about, man. These guys, I wish they had power, man. They could really do some of this stuff. And then, they were like, if we had power, if we ever get back in, if Trump gets in, you know what I mean? Especially Kash. He's going to straighten shit up, man. Epstein files, the whole thing, blah, 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 blah. Big talk, big talk. And none of that's happened, right? You've got The Blaze, an independent media group, investigating the pipe bomber shit from January 6th, something that the FBI should have already known about long ago, but just didn't want to, right? So they investigate that. They put out information that they got from a gate analysis. Haven't heard the FBI even comment on it. You know, they pretend like the shit's not even happening, right? Then you've got Tucker Carlson putting out information about Thomas Crooks, the guy who tried to murder Trump, who the FBI told us, well, the guy's got no social media footprint for a guy this age. That's totally weird, but we can't find anything. Well, I think that's totally wrong. I think that actually it was because of his social media post that the deep state did find him. And I didn't think that the Trump assassination thing was a conspiracy theory that could be linked to the government in any way, except for basically gross incompetence. I guess I was naive, you know what I mean? Which usually I'm not, but, obviously there's something up because they're lying about everything. So they lie about the social media presence of this dude. Why do they do that? Probably, in my opinion, right? I think it's because the FBI or the CIA or whoever the fuck it was that was traveling back and forth with an FBI cell phone to Thomas Crooks, and whoever got him in this BlackRock commercial or whatever when he was in school. I think that those people or people surrounding them did contact Thomas Crooks and put him up to trying to murder Donald Trump. They probably found his social media posts, which were talking about murdering people, political figures, and they thought, oh, this guy's going to be amazing. He turned against Trump. You can see from the posts that he was all Trump, and then all of a sudden he turned 180 on it, right? He was like 180. That's it. And you can see on the posts that he turned 180, and I'm sure that deep state people were like, oh, this dude's just crazy enough, and also turned, he hates Trump now. This is going to be the guy we're going to try to make, go for it. That is now a plausible scenario to me. But the FBI is bumble fucking around. Oh, just, Jesus Christ, people. I mean, look, if the reason why nothing is happening on the accountability front is because they just don't have the power to do it, then fucking quit, right? Don't go in there gung-ho like you're king shit and we're going to get it done, guys, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then when you get in there, just turn 180 and go, well, sorry, guys, now I'm in the FBI. I know the Biden administration's FBI, they weren't really lying as much as you guys thought, man. They were really actually doing a really great job, I mean, and we're going to keep a bunch of the people that were involved in Russiagate in the FBI because, it's just top level corruption. These people, they were just doing their job. They were doing what they were told. And we need people in the FBI that are going to do what they're told. Well, look, guys, this is not working. I think the big problem is that people like Kash and Dan don't really have real integrity, right? Because if they did, they would say, okay, well, if I'm not going to be able to do my job here at the FBI, if I'm not going to be able to put these high power corrupt criminals, that the Epstein people, the fucking Russiagate people, the Twitter files people, the COVID people, you name it. If I'm not going to be able to do anything about these people, and because I'm getting hogtied by higher ups in the government, well, then I'm not cut out for this job and I quit. That's what I would do if I was Dan and Kash. If they want to save any of their reputation for after this administration is over, because if Democrats ever get in, they're gone. You know what I mean? And if Republicans get in, they might be able to still keep their positions, but at some point they're going to have to leave public office. And if they want any amount of credibility in public life again, they're going to have to either start kicking ass and taking names, or they're going to have to resign and say, look, I'm hogtied. I cannot do the job that I thought I was going to be able to do here. And that seems to me to be the thing, right? Because Pam Bondi, she's basically the same, right? Pam Bondi was a lawyer for Pfizer. That means because of her connection to Pfizer, there will never be any sort of real investigation into Pfizer under Pam Bondi's watch, because she can't. It's a conflict of interest. Now, she could put somebody else on it, but she's probably not gonna. She knows where their skeletons are buried and where the skeletons are buried in Pfizer, but she obviously didn't care. You know what I'm saying? What these people want, right? The Kashes and the Dans and the Pam Bondis and them, they want the status quo. They don't want too much disruption. And unfortunately, the only way to get the rot out of the system and to try to rectify the system in any way, unfortunately, the only way is it's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to be ripping off the Band-Aid. It's going to suck a little bit, but that's their job, right? They can't no longer sell to the American people or the world that, hey, guys, we got it covered. Why do you guys think that everybody in the world is demanding to see court files of criminals of different cases for themselves? Because they don't trust these organizations anymore. So now they want to look at it on their own. It's like if your daughter says, if you catch your daughter sending, 15-year-old or whatever, saying naked pictures to a 40-year-old, well, after that, you're going to want to see every fucking text she ever sends. You're going to have full control over her phone. You're going to fucking be on her like shit on, or flies on shit. You know what I mean? You're going to be on her, right? Because the trust is gone. See, before, when I was younger, there was all kinds of public people demanding court case files, demanding files from Epstein, and demanding this and demanding that, because they were like, okay, if the FBI's got it covered, they're doing their job. We don't have to worry about it. That's the big problem. That's how this whole shit got this corrupt in the first place, because the people that are supposed to be part of a democratic society weren't paying any attention. But now we all are. And now we're demanding things that actually we don't really have the right to, because it's about private people's private shit. You wouldn't want your court files all over the fucking place either. But we now demand to see it because now we don't trust these fucking people. And Kash and Dan are doing a fucking shit job of making us trust them. The old FBI, same as the new FBI, status quo, keep it going. We don't want too much disruption. We don't want retaliation, even though they don't realize the Democrats are going to retaliate no matter what if they get power again. You guys are all in jail if the Democrats get power again. That's what I think. So they're going to do it no matter what. So you might as well hit them hard now so that they don't even think of fucking with y'all when they get power again. They're like, all right. We got to get somebody to say uncle. And we need to make it be the Democrats. And the only way to make them say uncle is to prosecute and persecute them at every fucking turn and chance you possibly can. And that's what it looked like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino wanted to do, but that's not what they're doing. So they're now, in my mind, as useless and as fucking dumb and pitiful as wash-up actor Robert De Niro, who nobody gives a fuck about what he thinks about anything. Just go act. That's your thing. Go act. Be that guy. Don't be real Robert De Niro. We don't want real Robert De Niro. But now we got him, and now I can't unsee it. And that's the same thing with Kash and Dan. This shit is pathetic. Look, again, I'll say it one more time. Maybe Trump is waiting to unleash everybody until right before the midterms, right? In order to roll back some of these big mistakes and shit. And right before the midterms, we get some real handcuffs and not just indictments about mortgage fraud and all this other shit. There's all kinds of shit they can find these people on. Why mortgage fraud? Maybe they're going to turn it around right before the midterms as a political, tactic, which may work. But if they lose the midterms, it's fucking over. And if they win the midterms and this shit doesn't change, then I'm done with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Then basically you're going to have to resign yourself that you live in a corrupt oligarchy that is basically lying to you guys about absolutely everything. And that's how you're going to have to live. That's how you're going to have to live. That's going to be it. Because what these people don't seem to understand is the age of doing politics behind the scenes and under the cover of night and lying to the American people about every single fucking thing, classified this, classified that, you can't see this, you can't see that, but then going out and going, well, it's a system by the people for the people. That shit's not going to fly anymore, right? The internet has ruined that for them. What they need to do is come out and go, guys, for your whole lives, the government has been operating under the cover of darkness. And we could do that because we had control over all the media, we had control of all the propaganda, and there was no way anybody outside of that could really prove anything we did was corrupt, wrong, illegal, immoral, whatever. Now, you guys get to see everything because of the internet. We have to adjust to that. We have to, the whole system, the whole swampy system has to adjust to this new way of doing politics in a transparent, open, fair, and reasonable manner that will be able to get sold to the American people as the voters as the right thing to do. That's new for everybody in the government. You see, they're not really equipped for that. They're equipped for being able to do everything behind closed doors, excluding everybody, and they're not equipped for real truth politics. They're not equipped for that. We're gonna have to give them the chance to do it. But now, these people who know that's the case, Kash and Dan know that's the case, they had podcasts and shit. You know what I'm saying? They know it's because of the internet that the government can't no longer lie their way into power and keep their power through lying and omitting and obscuring and being intransparent. They know it. And yet still they're doing it. And anybody who said, well, maybe somebody got to it. Well, okay, then quit. Then quit. Right now, these people are losers in my book. Sorry. I don't need to hear any more shit about how much fentanyl I don't care. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because, the thing is, drug users, they're gonna take that risk and fuck them. I use drugs too. I have. I've done a lot of drugs in my life. You know what I mean? And that's my risk as an adult to take those drugs. If I'm in a place where I know there might be a 90% chance of deadly fentanyl in my cocaine, I'm not gonna buy any cocaine there. You know what I mean? That's just that simple. That shouldn't be an FBI fucking problem. Drugs should be legal anyway. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers aren't really doing shit. That getting rid of fentanyl, that's like part of their basic job. I don't need to hear all these fucking woo-ha, pat myself on the back stories from them about how they did this and how they did that. You know what I mean? I don't care. I want to see accountability. How hard is it to understand? It's not just me either. It's like everybody. Fucking Jesus. They're losers. That's it. Sorry.